Radhe Radhe. Today's I motivate by Gita, attending the Supreme by remembering Lord Krishna in devotion, thought one's life, and especially at the time of death, one can attain to his supreme abode beyond the material world. Attaining the supreme, Arjun Uvacha, Kim Tat Brahma Kim Adhyatmanam Kim Karma Purushottama Adhibhutang cha King Mokt Makshi Madhi Devang Kimuchyate. O Arjun inquired, O my Lord, the Supreme Person, what is Brahmin? What is this self? What are your fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. In the chapter, Lord Krishna answered different questions from Arjun, beginning with what is Brahmin? The Lord also explained karma, fruitive activities, devotional service, yoga, principle, and devotional service in its pure form. The Srimad Bhagavatam explained that the Supreme Absolute Truth is known as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. In addition, the living entity, the individual soul, is also called Brahman. Arjun also inquiries about Atma, which refers to body, soul, and mind. According to the Vedic dictionary, Atma refers to the mind, soul, body, and senses also. Arjuna has addressed the Supreme Lord as Purushottam, Supreme Person, which means that he was putting these questions not simply to a friend, but to the Supreme Person, knowing him to be the supreme authority able to give definitive answer. Adi Yajnang kathang ko atrang dehe asmin madhusudanam prerana prayana kale cha kathang yogyeyo asiniya tatma bhi. Lord of sacrifice may refer either Indra or Vishnu. Vishnu is the chief of the primal demigods, including Brahma and Shiva, and Indra is chief of the administrative demigod. But both Indra and Vishnu are worshipped by yajna performance. But here Arjuna asked who is actually the Lord of sacrifice, Lord of yajna, sacrifice, and how the Lord is residing within the body of living entity. Arjuna addressed the Lord as Madhusudan because Krishna one is a demon named Madhu. Actually, these questions, which are of the nature of doubts, should not have arisen in the mind of Arjuna, because Arjuna is a Krishna consciousness devotee. Krishna conscious devotee. Therefore, these doubts are like demons. Since Krishna is so expert in killing demon, Arjuna here address him as Madhusudan so that Krishna might kill the demonic doubts that arise in Arjun's mind. Now the word prayana kale in this verse is very significant, because whatever we do in life will be tested in the time of death. Friends, in this time of death, always you will be remember, Arjun is very anxious to know of those who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness. What should be their position at that final moment? At the time of death, all the bodily functions are disturbed, and the mind is not in a proper condition. These disturbed by the bodily situation, one may not be able to remember the Supreme Lord. Maharaja Kalu a great devotee, prays, "My dear Lord, just now I am quite healthy, and it is better that I die immediately, so that the swan of my mind can seek entrance at the stem of your lotus feet." The metaphor is used because the swan, a bird of the water, takes pleasure in doing into the lotus flower. Its sporting proclivity is to enter the lotus flower. Maharaja Kalushetra says to the Lord, "Now my mind in undisturbed, and I am quite healthy. If I die immediately thinking of your lotus feet, then I am sure that my performance of your devotional service will become perfect. But if I have to wait for my natural death, when I do not know what will be happen, because at that time of the bodily function will be disturbed by my thought will be choked up, and I do not know whether I shall be able to chant your name. Better let me die immediately. Arjun questions how a person can fix his mind on Krishna lotus feet at such a time. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Aksharam Brahma Paramang Swabhavo Adhyatma Muchyate Bhuta Bhavodbhava Karo visargah karma sangitya. Oh, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, instructable, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his internal nature is called Adhyatma. The self-action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma of fruitive activities. Brahman is indestructible and internally existing, and its constitution is not changed at any time. But beyond Brahman there is Bara Brahman, Para Brahman. Brahman refers to the living entity. The Para, Para Brahman refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The constitutional position of the living entity is different from the position he takes in the material world. In the material consciousness, his nature is to try to be the Lord of matter, but in spiritual consciousness, Shri Krishna consciousness, his position is to serve the Supreme. When the living entity is in material consciousness, he has to take and various bodies in the material world. That is called karma, or varied creation by the force of material consciousness. In Vedic literature, the living entity is called Jivatma and Brahman, but he is never called Para Brahman. The living entity takes different position. Sometimes he merges into the dark material nature and identifies himself with matter, and sometimes he identifies himself with the superior spiritual nature. Therefore, he is called the Supreme Lord Marginal Energy. According to his identification with material or spiritual nature, he received a material or spiritual body. In the material nature, he may take a body from any of the 84,000 species of life, but in spiritual nature, he has only one body. In material nature, is he manifested sometimes as a man, demigod, animal, beast, bird, act according to his karma to attain material heavenly plants and enjoy their facilities. He sometimes performs sacrifice, but when his merit is exhausted, he returns to earth again in the form of a man. The process is called karma. The Chandogya Upanishad describe the Vedic sacrificial process. On the sacrificial altar, 5 kinds of offering are made into 5 kinds of fire. The 5 kinds of fire are conceived on as heavenly plants, clouds, the earth, men and women, and the five kinds of sacrificial offerings are paid. The enjoyer won the moon, rain, gains, and semen. Is in the process of sacrifice, the living entity makes specific sacrifice to attain specific heavenly plants and consequently reach them. When the merit of sacrifice is exhausted, the living entity descended to earth in the form of rain. It takes on the form of grains, and the grain are eaten by men and transformed into semen, which impregnates a woman, and thus is living entity once again attain the human form, perform sacrifice, and so repeat the same cycle. In this way, the living entity perpetually comes and goes, and the material path. The Krishna conscious person, however, avoids such sacrifice. He takes directly to Krishna consciousness and thereby prepared himself to return to Godhead. Impersonalist commentators on the Bhagavad Gita unreasonably assume that Brahman take the form of Jiva in the material world, and the substance that this they refer to chapter 15 verse 7 of the Gita. But it is the verse the Lord also speaks of the living entity as internal fragment of myself, the fragment of God. The living entity may fall down into the material world, but the Supreme Lord never falls down. Therefore, this assumption that the Supreme Brahman assumes the form of Jiva is not acceptable in the important to remember that Vedic literature Brahmin is distinct from Para Brahman, the Supreme Lord. Adhibhutam charo bhava purushanscha dhidevatam adhiyagyo aham mevatram dehe dehabhritangvara. The physical nature is constantly changing. Material bodies generally pass through 6 stages. They are born, they grow, they remain for some duration, they produce some byproduct, they dwindle, and then they vanish. The physical nature is called Abhibhuta. It is created at a certain point and will be annihilated at a certain point. The conception of the universe from the Supreme Lord, which includes all the demigods and their different plants, is called Adi Devata, and present in the body along with the individual soul. The Supreme Soul is the Supreme Soul, a plenary representation of Lord Krishna. The Super Soul is called the Paramatma or Adi Jnana and situated in the heart. The word Iva is particularly important in the context of this verse because by this word the Lord stresses that the Paramatma is not different from him. The Supreme Soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, seated beside the individual soul in the witness of the individual soul's activities, and the it is the source of the soul versus types of consciousness. The Supreme Soul gives a individual soul an opportunity to act freely and witnesses his activities. The functions of these different manifestation of the Supreme Lord automatically become clarified for the pure Krishna conscious devotee engaged in transcendental service to the Lord. The genetic universal from the Lord called Adi Devata is complete. It contemplates by the naive by who cannot approach the Supreme Lord in his manifestation as Super Soul. The neophyte is advised to contemplate the universal from or Virat Purusha, whose legs and considered the lower plants. Those eyes are considered the sun and moon, and whose head is considered the appear planetary system. That means clearly you have know what have to do, how a powerful meditation may have powerful life lesson by Gita, and how to make a Supreme Soul in your heart. Don't lose your patience, don't lose your confidence, don't lose your concentration of God, Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna consciousness, and you will be find to take a new life-changing, powerful sleep guidance of meditation by Gita. Sleep guidance of spiritual meditation motivate by Gita, and life-changing within 30 days. In every day 30 minutes you will be attend and early in the morning and completely sacrifice each and everything. You will know every sacrifice is brought to heaven, just like Sri Krishna consciousness. I think that you will be completed the knowledge you can do, you can read, you can go there and come to know about Sri Krishna consciousness. This is very confidential matter in your lifeline. My friends, all of you, I am also taking a lesson by powerful changing, powerful lesson for changing of lifestyle. My how to complete knowledge, how to get a complete knowledge, how to selection a better life in your lifeline by Gita, Sri Lord Sri Krishna Consciousness. Thank you, friends. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's all, friends.